Did you know that burying your bass drum beater, so doing this, is frowned upon? I've been playing over 20 years. Didn't know. In this video, I'm going to give you 13 pieces of advice that I wish I knew when I started playing drums. I'll also give you my 2 cents on that whole burying the bass drum thing, so stay around to see that. Get a drum teacher. Okay, so in the world of internet and vast connectivity, there are so many resources like my YouTube channel that teach you how to play drums, but nothing will ever trump walking into a room and getting taught by someone better than you and someone who knows what to do. When you have a drum teacher, they can give you advice. They offer a feedback loop, right? So if you play and learn something, you play it for them, they can see if you're doing that right or wrong. Whereas if you learn on the internet, no one's ever going to tell you that those things that you're playing need a little bit of adjusting. So you develop bad habits that kind of go with you as you grow. I'll always recommend getting an in-person teacher, but if you can't do that, at least get an online teacher that has a back and forth relationship with you. Play slowly. The key to learning how to play the drums is to play things slow so that you can play them fast. That's a really simplified version of how to learn things, but it is true. There's this thing called muscle memory. So when you're playing the drums, your muscles kind of learn and adapt to what you're doing, and that muscle memory builds, especially when you play things slowly. As you play them slowly, you will get more comfortable, things will feel more natural, and then as you speed up, things will become a lot cleaner. So make sure to play slow before you play fast. Rudiments are overrated. There are 40 rudiments and way more hybrid rudiments that everyone tries to push on beginner drummers, saying you have to learn rudiments. Those are the foundation of drumming. If you learn those, you will get better and you will develop and all those things. That's not wrong, but for a beginner drummer, just jamming out rudiments on a pad is boring. So for beginners, I recommend just learning 2 rudiments, single strokes, double strokes. Don't spend too much time on technique. Alright, so as you're learning to play the drums, you also don't want to just spend too much time focusing on developing the right technique, because that often chases people away because they feel that drumming is too technical. It's really not. Playing the drums is like a feel thing. You feel good as you play. The more you feel good, the better feeling your grooves are. Technique is important, but it's not as deep as a lot of people will have you think. For example, holding a drumstick. If you want to know how to hold a drumstick perfectly, just take it like this and flip it around. The way you catch it is like technically how you hold a drumstick. People will try to tell you that there's like a fulcrum and balance point, which there is, but you really don't need to focus on that as long as you're holding it in a decent way. Don't spend a lot of money. Drums are drums, man, and things are getting way more pricey as time goes on. But to play drums, you really don't need to spend that much. If you are going to put your money somewhere, rather put it in cymbals, because you can't change how those sound, but drum shells that don't cost that much are often more than good enough. Record yourself playing. Okay, this is really valuable advice that everyone should hear, and that is to record yourself playing the drums. When you learn something, like learning a new beat, take your phone, record yourself playing that beat. You might just find that your back is too rounded, your hands look too stiff, you look really bored while you're playing, and you're only going to realize these things if you watch yourself doing them. Play with a metronome. Okay, so a metronome is literally the biggest tool that we have as drummers. What a metronome does is it gives you a constant pulse to keep time with. As a drummer, your goal is to develop your timing and be good at keeping time so that you can solidify the timing when playing with other musicians. The metronome app that I highly recommend that everyone uses is called Pro Metronome. This metronome app has everything you can ask for, and it has so many handy tools to help you with your practice. One of the best ways to develop your timing is to use a rhythm trainer. So what the rhythm trainer can do on Pro Metronome is give you a steady pulse, but then it will emit clicks so that you need to keep those in your head and keep time without hearing it. Those clicks will come back, and then you need to make sure that you have stayed in time while playing. I love this function. I use it while practicing different grooves and fills, but I also use it while just improvising. That always looks something like this. If you want to check out Pro Metronome, I'll put the link in the description of this video. I highly recommend the app. Listen to music. Okay, this is a pretty obvious one. The more music you listen to, the better you become as a musician. There's so much music out there to listen to, and you're going to hear different drummers playing different things. And when you're learning to play the drums, you'll start noticing what those drummers are doing in those songs. This might also encourage you to kind of dive into different styles. Beginner drummers will learn how to play rock beats, but if you want to learn how to play jazz, you got to listen to jazz music. Relax. Don't be stiff. The more stiff you are, the more stiff your drumming will sound. So just relax. A good thing to do while playing drums, while learning how to play beats, is just breathe in, breathe out, and just kind of take things slowly and have a good time while doing it. Drumming can get frustrating, it can get really anxiety inducing if you're struggling to play something, but the more you just take it easy and relax while doing it, the more your brain will just think, okay, this isn't that bad, I just need to slow down, take a step back, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, let's go. When you are stiff while learning how to play the drums, you will tend to speed up, which I explained earlier is not good. You gotta slow down. Play with other musicians. Once you know how to play a few grooves and fills and you can stay in time, I highly recommend playing with other people. This is the best way of getting better at playing the drums, and it is how you become a musician and not just a drummer. Think about all these gospel drummers that grew up playing in church as kids. They are all amazing drummers now, but the reason is they always had to play with other musicians, and in doing that they became really good at adapting to different musical instruments playing along with them. Protect your ears. Your hearing will never come back once it's gone. So if you're gonna learn how to play the drums, please just protect your ears while playing. Drum kits often go over 100 decibels, which is not good for your ears. And the more you are exposed to those loud sounds, the more likely you are to lose your hearing. So when playing drums, practicing drums, playing with other people, always just make sure to have some sort of headphones or ear protectors just so that you can protect your hearing. Learn to read. Alright, I didn't want to read when I started learning to play drums. I was like, screw that. Reading music is something that classical musicians do. I'm a drummer, I just want to play drums and hit things. Learning to read is one of the most valuable things you can do for yourself because it allows you to learn anything. By knowing how to read drum notation, you can just download a sheet for a song and learn a song without anyone teaching you how to play it, because you can just sit there and read what's on the page. It also allows you to write down your own ideas and just memorize what you've kind of played, and you can keep that for later. My whole workflow and job is teaching people how to play drums, and I use a lot of notation, and if I never learned how to read, I wouldn't be able to do this. Have fun. Okay, so if you don't have fun, what's the point of learning how to play an instrument? When you play drums, just make sure you're having a good time. The whole goal is to play songs, play with friends, play drums by yourself, and just have a stress relieving activity. If you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. So just make sure that you're focusing on having a good time. If someone tells you that you need to learn how to play a certain drum groove and you're really just not enjoying it, you don't need to do it. Always think, why am I doing something? Why am I learning to play this thing? And if the goal is to have fun and do something that you're really going to feel accomplished with, then do it. But if you're not going to have fun while doing it, don't do it. Okay, there are 13 tips for beginner drummers. They also apply to all of us that have been playing drums for years. Just keep those things in mind and your progress should go faster. Okay, so is burying your bass drum beater actually that bad? It depends. If your bass drum is muffled and it has stuff in it so that you get a very tight sound, it really doesn't matter. So check on my bass drum when I bury the beater and when I don't. You can't really hear the difference. So focusing on not burying your beater is just not that important. However, if you have a bass drum with nothing inside it and it's very airy and boomy, if you bury the beater, you're gonna choke that sound. By lifting the beater as you strike the bass drum head, it's gonna kind of vibrate like it's supposed to. So the question of does it matter, it actually just depends on your bass drum, and that answers the debate. If you want to learn how to play more drum stuff, I highly recommend watching this video that YouTube is recommending to you right now. The algorithm wants you to watch this video, so click on it and go learn something new.